Can you hear me out there? Check, 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 check. Please make full throttle mean something. No. No. I am done with full throttle. I might ban the word full throttle, dude. That was a dark time in this channel and Red Sox history, man. Move on and let's just what did they say this offseason? I don't remember. Aggressive? Let's just see aggressiveness. Dude, I hate full throttle. But what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Red Seat live stream. My name is Corbin, and I'll be your host for this evening. Thank you very much for being here. Who do we got in the chat tonight? Christian, Money, Mike, Madness, Dennis, Curran, Mr. Video Game, how are you? Money Mike, you weren't here last week. Welcome back, my friends. My moderator, Robbie, is here. Mick Nuggins. I think I said that wrong. I apologize. McZuggins. I really hope that's not a bad word. Dennis, how are you? Trevor, how's it going? Peter. Matt is here. 35th. 35th, what? Dennis, what's going on? Tom, how are you? TJ. Daniel. Luis. 36th. Oh, in the chat. I see what's going on here. Starting to pile in a little bit. We're starting to pile in a little bit. Something is going on. Something is going on every single week here where my camera's in a different position every time. I have two cameras. For those of you who don't know, I have two cameras. I got one camera over here that I record my videos on. I got one camera over here that I stream our streams on. And it feels like every week the camera that I stream our streams on is off kilter somehow. Does this look tilted to anybody else, or am I just way too nitpicky about it? I don't know. The stash looks good. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Wow. 2 compliments in a row? 2 compliments in a row? I'm feeling good right now. Was Nightbot protect from Rule 5 draft? No, but I have a good feeling. He didn't put up great numbers this year, so I have a feeling he'll be sticking around. Stash is coming for sure. Yeah, it's you know what I will say? Like, I do think it's a bit thicker than it was last year, which is a plus. I don't know what I did to it. I mean, it's still kind of patchy a bit, but this drives me nuts. That right here. Him and his friends Roman Anthony, which can't hurt. Yeah, I know. I dug in a little bit more to Josh Heyman. I'm a fan. I am a fan. I generally think he could be really solid at the major league level. Do a comb over your upper lip. I have like a mustache comb. My fiance got it. More of as a joke. Cole, thank you so much for subscribing. If we want Bo, what about Meyer? LOL. And maybe Meyer at third and Bo at second. Yeah. So I think that's gonna be sort of our bulk of our conversation today during the live stream, because here's kind of where I'm at with whether or not to make videos this off season, right? I kind of like, I'm gonna cover every single rumor and report and whatever, and we're definitely gonna talk about everything. But if I go over every single rumor that comes about, we're never gonna be able to cover it, right? So I've been debating how to cover these, and I think one of the ways I'm going to do it is sort of where we're going to start on a live stream, right? We're going to go over everything, and then if it gets more substantiated, we're going to talk more about it in a video. Does that make sense? Is that the right way to do it? I don't really know. I'm still trying to figure things out here. We're going on season number 4 here. I'm still trying to figure things out. Can we talk about Morrissey saying it sounds like the Sox may get one of Bregman or Alonso? Yeah, I don't love that. I don't love that, right? Bresla, this is the offseason. By the way, if you haven't seen the Red Seat merch in person, I mean, obviously I wear the hat every day, but I have not worn any of my merch because I don't really love wearing my shirts because it makes me feel like I'm just a walking billboard for myself, and that makes me feel a little bit like, I don't know, uptight, but these shirts are incredibly comfortable, Chad. Look at this. If you have not, it's dirty. It's dirty. I just ate dinner. It's a little bit dirty. But it looks good in person, man. I don't know if I've ever shown you guys that in person. Do I still sell red seat tote bags? No, I don't think so. We could probably do it. Thoughts on Houck non-tender news? It's interesting to me for sure. It looks interesting to me for sure. I don't know what it's gonna be. Prioritize shorts for your channel when it comes to the quick rumors. It warrants a whole video. Eddie, that's not a bad idea actually. To be honest with you, maybe we throw a couple shorts in throughout the week. Wink, Bernie, and Murphy all had near 3 ERAs or less, but I believe. Yeah. So I'm still kind of curious about where the Red Sox go with those trades. Like those there was just so much to wrap your. What's up, AJ? There was so much to wrap your head around yesterday. That's why I waited to make the video. I was gonna sit here and do like a breaking for every single one. And I was like, let's compile it. Let's talk about what it all means as a whole. To me, what it's indicating, at least on the surface, is that, one, the Red Sox are comfortable with the young kids they have, right? You don't trade every single lefty at the major league level outside of Chapman if you aren't comfortable with Tolley, Harrison, Early, even Patrick Sandoval, who's not a kid, but obviously might end up in a bullpen-esque role. Is Tyler Uberstein a lefty? I was trying to figure that out today, and I forgot to look it up. Shane Drohan, right? They're all left-handed pitchers. So I think that was a big reason why we saw a lot of those depth guys go. We'll see if it's the right move, right? We'll see if it's the right move. Trading Jaron, in my opinion, is like taking the spark plug out of a motor and thinking it'll run better. I think the Red Sox will still be good without Jaron. No, he's a righty. Thank you, versatility. See, now I don't need to Google it. Did the Red Sox buy out Houck's arbitration a year of free agency? Doesn't make sense to. Yeah. I kind of agree that it feels like some sort of interesting contract is in the works for Tanner Houck and the Red Sox. It really doesn't make sense to hold on to him, let him rehab, potentially pitch a little bit in 27, then hit the free agency market. My opinion is, again, what I said in the video, is that with Houck, right, the reason they didn't trade him is, one, the potential is still there, right? We can't sit here and ignore the fact that, he was pitching through injury this year. If he's healthy, he could potentially be a legit top mid-rotation type arm. And I'm not saying he's going to be healthy this season. I'm saying down the road. The other thing is, too, it gives him an opportunity to sit there and really evaluate it, right? You could always non-tender him. It would be a waste of $3 million, but $3 million for the Red Sox is a lot different than $3 million to you and me. So they could sit there next year and go, you know what, we're non-tendering you. Or you could sit there next year and say, hey, how about a 3-year deal, right? Or something like that. Maybe you get something done. I don't know, but it gives you a little bit of time. I know, Trevor. I'm so sad for Bernie, man. Yeah, I saw that, Austin. Trade for Kirby? There's no way. There's no way the Mariners are trading Kirby. They're going for it, man. I don't listen to any of the Red Sox rumors for the signing of the top free agents of any year. They don't and won't spend $400 for anyone, even though they make you think they will. Okay, Peter. Dennis, Alonso make Roman see better pitches and takes pressure off of young students too. Yeah. I don't totally disagree. Last year was a different situation, though, in my opinion. Is Cutter on schedule for next season? Yeah, he should be healthy. You think Woodruff going back to the Brewers increases the chances? I'm just reading comments here, chat. Increases the chances of Peralta being available in a trade. I think he's available. Genuinely, I think he's available regardless of what happened with Brandon Woodruff. I don't know that it makes him more available. I mean, the problem with the Brewers is they just don't like to spend money, right? And I'm kind of shocked they even offered Woodruff the qualifying offer. My guess is that they thought he wasn't going to take it. Right? I think they thought no way he takes it. We're good. And then he took it. So maybe it does. Let's have a little segment, chat. Ask me any question, I'm going to answer it. Should you take Alonso or Schwarber? Honestly, you would take Monkey. Am I missing something there? Who's Monkey? Corbett, can you explain what the effect of the potential lockout would have on free agent contracts? Well, to me, I thought that we would be seeing a lot more guys. You know how we've seen recently where stars are taking these sort of 1-year deals that are really 3-year deals, but an opt out every single year. I honestly thought we were going to see a lot more of those. Tom, Peter F is a free agent. I thought we were going to see a lot more of those. Now I kind of don't know. I don't know what the effects are going to be because there were a lot of people that took that qualifying offer, which to me was interesting because I would figure these guys would at least want, a 1-year deal with an option at the end of it or something like that so that they had the ability to, be secure next offseason. But a lot of these guys, I mean, Trent Grisham makes sense, right? But Torres, I thought Torres could have gotten a 2 or 3 year deal somewhere. Woodruff, again, another guy. I would have thought he could get a 3 or 4 year deal somewhere. I think the talent's good enough, or at least a 2-year deal, right? So genuinely, to be honest with you, as much as I want to give you a true answer here, who was that? Was that Steven? Steve? I don't know what the effects are going to be. My guess is that players who are on the free agent market right now are looking for at least a 2-year deal so they're secure next year. I don't know what teams are thinking. I would imagine teams are sitting there saying the exact opposite, right? We don't know if this guy's even going to play for our team in 2027. Let's see if we can get a 1-year deal. How much is Movember made? Well, we can look right now, actually. Let's take a little peek, shall we? We're going to talk about Bo today. That's sort of the big one I wanted to talk about. But let's take a look. Movember is officially at $1,700, chat. We are closing in on 2/3 the way there with 10 days left, chat. Can we get there? And someone who does if we get there, there's the donation. Look, at Nightbot and I are always on the same page, chat. If we do get there, someone who donates is going to win opening day tickets to 2020. Who just donated, by the way? An anonymous supporter 4 minutes ago. And Mike. Shout out Mike. Thank you so much, Mike. An anonymous supporter 4 minutes ago. We're going to go through and give some love to these people. I don't know if you guys are in here. I don't know. XI Justin, $253 from Justin here, man. Thank you so much, dude. Incredible. Yeah, we got you on here, Mike. Look at you right there. 8 hours ago. Mike. Did Pivetta get more from Padres? Yeah, Pivetta got a few years, I think, from the Padres. It was a weird contract. Grissom Grissom makes all the sense in the world why he took it. To the show we go, ladies and gentlemen. The newest addition. Actually, Andrew, you want to just join the show and we'll talk about some of the Rule 5 stuff? What do you think? This is Andrew Parker, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. To the show baseball podcast. Just got hired, or I guess it just joined Sox Prospects. You're going to see him a lot more everywhere. Let's do it. How do I get him in here, Chad? Someone tell me how I would get Andrew in here. Hunter Green or Joe Ryan? If Hunter Green's available, it's Hunter Green. But I don't know that Hunter Green is in here. Is Pete Fairbanks part of the answer for Super Bullpen? I assume that means Super Bullpen. Discord link is right above you, actually, Trevor. Discord? Why is everyone saying Discord? Oh, get him in here via Discord. I see. You guys are smart, man. Way smarter than I am. And are you interested in attending Fenway Fest again this year? If I'm being totally honest with you, Austin, I don't know that I will. With Winter Weekend, I felt like I got a lot more access to things. I thought the videos were a lot better. This year, I didn't really think the Fenway Fest video was all that good. What I am thinking about doing is doing a meetup that day and just have people who are going to Fenway Fest come say hi. And I don't know, maybe we'll do something like that. I'm trying to figure it out. I've been putting that off for months. Have you ever done a thing where you hit a golf balls at Fenway? No, but my fiance did. Do you think we kicked the tires on Ketel Marte? Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure people will take a look. Meetup sounds cool. Yeah. I'm gonna look into it a little bit. And we'll see. You don't want Alex Bregman? I don't what Bregman trade. I what Red Sox front office John Henry. Alexander Bregman agree. 7-year contract to stay with Boston Red Sox and not to get traded. Carrie, I'm trying real hard, man. Or ma'am, or man, I don't know. I don't have an answer. Think we should go for Bo? Okay. We've chit-chatted long enough. Great reading, Corbin. Yeah, that's clearly on me, of course. Okay, we've chatted, we've answered some questions. I'll answer one more. 7 years is a long time. Yeah, 7 years for Bregman would be a lot. What's up, Shane? He's in here. Bo wants 200 mil. All right, so let's talk about Bo a little bit, huh? So here's the official report. Again, this is where I kind of get bogged down a little bit in figuring out what to cover and what not. Because right now we've got multiple sources reporting that the Red Sox are interested at the bare minimum in Bo Bichette, right? Bo Bichette is looking or projected to get, is what they're saying, a contract between 7 and 8 years worth $200 million. Which honestly, like, yeah, you sit here and it's like 7 years for Bichette, but he's also 28, right? So it's like you've got some time here. Here's what I'll say. I'm very interested in Bichette, right? There's this one bad year he had in 2024 where it wasn't very good, right? This year, like every single other season, this dude hits above 300. This dude has an 800 plus OPS. This guy's not going to hit a bunch of home runs, right? Maybe he'll put up 20 for you, but he's going to get on base. He's going to give you a ton of hits. He's going to score a bunch of runs. He's going to hit a whole bunch of doubles, right? And he's going to drive some guys in. Like what I'm really curious about though is because I haven't done any research. When we do live streams about certain players, I do the research here. This is what really interests me. Andrew. I'm going to go over this probably in like 30 minutes. I'm going to see if I can try and grab you and bring you on. And we'll talk about the Rule 5 stuff and what kind of roles you see people being in. So keep it. I'll text you. Either that or you could stay in here for 30 minutes. So let's go over what would be exciting about Bo Bichette, okay? I think what stands out above everything else is very obviously the strikeout rate, right? This dude doesn't swing and miss a lot. He doesn't strike out a lot. He's going to put the ball in play. He led the league in hits how many times? Twice, 3 times in his career? Twice in his career, right? Of his 1, 2. Well, is this going to count? Are we going to count these as full seasons? I'll do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons. 6 of them, he's had close to a 300 batting average, right? In six of his 7 seasons, he's had over an 800 OPS, right? So you sit there and you say, what do the Red Sox need, right? You need to cut down on the strikeouts a bit. You need a guy who can put the ball in play. Well, this is a dude who not only can put the ball in play, but he doesn't strike out a lot. Right. And so I think this is by far and away the biggest plus as to this. Plus you talk about, the Red Sox and where they're at now and where they want to be going forward in this sort of era of contention that they're looking in. This is a guy who's still kind of, you're still paying him for 2 years of the prime of his career, right? 27, 28, 29, and 30 are all supposed to be your statistical prime of your career. This is a guy who's smack dab in the middle of that. So you're getting 2 years of that. And I understand, that's not a ton. I am curious. Let me see how he's been at Fenway. I mean, the dude mashes at Fenway Park too, by the way. 329 average, 382 on base percentage, 524 slug, 907 OPS. Yeah, I like that, right? The sort of, and the immediate I think everybody points to is this right here, right? It's his range. It's the outs above average. It's worse in Major League Baseball. Actually, in fact, I bet if we went to this and did, we'll just do regular outs above average. Why doesn't it give me regular outs above average? We'll just do fielding run value. That's fine. I bet it'll be at the bottom anyways. Where are you? Christian Campbell, top 11, man. Bichette, there he is, right? Top 12 in Major League Baseball for lowest fielding run value. My question is, so we've kind of already heard, and I bet it's in this article too. Is this right here, right? Is he's open to playing other positions. So if you're not going to go for a Bregman or you don't think the investment is worth it in Bregman, what about a guy like Bichette? Right, I really like this. Now, I wouldn't love this as your only offseason move in terms of your offense, right? I think you need more thump. And as much as Bichette has been really solid for the Blue Jays, he hasn't been that sort of thump guy, right? He hasn't been that guy who's going to put up 30, 40 home runs. And that's what the Red Sox really need at the end of the day. But if you compare this with a Kazuma, or even if you get really funky here and you pair him with a Pete Alonso and you put, either Bichette at second base or Bichette at third base and Meyer at wherever else you don't put Bichette, all of a sudden you've got, in my opinion, a pretty decent infield, right? The problem with Bichette has been his range. He doesn't have good enough range to play shortstop at a full-time level going forward. Digits. I like that's just inflation, my guy. Right? Comic books is what I've been doing lately. It's a prime example. You get a comic book back in the 80s for like 50 cents. Like $5 now. That's a really small scale, but let's break that out into everything else, right? Of course, prices are going to go up for everything as with the entirety of the economy, you know what I mean? Or just the world in general, so. Yeah, like you can't sign Bichette to be a shortstop. You just simply can't do that. You can't have him as a shortstop on your team. But you could have him as a third baseman. You could have him for a second baseman. You could have him, split some time with DH and stuff like that. I don't know, man. I love that you put the cloud frying offer. That's super funny. Yeah, I don't. So the latest has been that the Red Sox might be planning on signing a starting pitcher and they don't want to trade for another one. I don't see how that works, right? If you're going to have to, I think you have to. I do. I think you have to pay for a bat. But you've got so many options for starting pitchers. It would be strange to me if the Red Sox signed a starting pitcher because I feel like it would take them out of the running for a lot of these bats. And I think the bats on the market right now are more impactful specifically for the Red Sox than let's say, a Dylan Cease or whatever. And that sounds crazy to say, but I don't know that you're getting a Pete Alonso impact type bat via trade. I think you can get a Dylan Cease type pitcher via the trade market. Does that make sense? What starting pitcher are we most likely to get? I don't really know if I'd put myself in. I'm not gonna be like this is who the Red Sox are gonna get, because if I do that, it's just a prediction, and then people will be like, "Well, idiot, you didn't get that right." Who could the Red Sox target that doesn't have a qualifying offer? Bregman doesn't have a qualifying offer. Does Alonso have the qualifying offer? I don't think Alonso has. Alonso doesn't, because I think Alonso got the qualifying offer last year. And is that right, Chad? That sounds right. Yeah, Alonso doesn't. Alonso, Bellinger, Bregman, Giolito, Robert Suarez, Merrill Kelly, Suarez, Eugenio, Chris Bassett, Merrill Kelly. Like it drops off pretty quickly here. Gleyber Torres will be taken off here. Pete Fairbanks. Not really a ton of like true impact guys. Pay for the bat, trade for the arm. Yeah. True, true. And none of the Japanese players have QOs either. So I think those are going to be, in my opinion, I really think Okamoto, once he gets posted, which he's the last one to be posted, right? Murakami's been posted. Ime just got posted, I think, yesterday, or is going to be posted this week. It's just Okamoto left. The second he gets posted, I feel like we're going to see a lot about the Red Sox attached to him. Feels like a guy the Red Sox can be all over. Because again, if you're going for, let's say you go for an Alonso, right? Even if you don't bring Bregman back, you can go for a guy like Kazuma and bring in similar lack of strikeouts, right? Or say you go for a Bregman, but you still want the home run type. I think you see Kazuma's name brought up a lot. Ime, yeah, I like Ime a lot. Yeah, I'm curious to see. Is there a prediction as to what? Projected, there it is. 6 years, 150 for him. Everyone's saying the Dodgers. Can the Dodgers even afford? Can the Dodgers even afford a another starting pitcher? Ime? They'll pay in 2064. Yeah, I guess that's true. Okamoto is getting posted today. Yeah, it was today. Officially entering Major League Baseball's posting system on November 19th. Called it. Nice. Ime doesn't want to go to the Dodgers. Am I surprised by the Bernardino Murphy trades? Yeah, initially I was, actually. I was more surprised by the Brennan Bernardino one than I was the Chris Murphy one, to be honest with you. I liked Chris. I still like Chris. I still think he could be a competent reliever, and I think he's going to be a competent reliever with the White Sox, who's, by the way, they're building up kind of an interesting bullpen over there. Bernie, I was shocked. I was like, really? Bernie? Like that's a reliable major league guy. Like, he's going to be there at the major league level and can pitch at a high level at the major league level. I think it just goes to show you, and we're actually going to dive in a little bit. I'm going to try and get Andrew Parker, new hire to Sox prospects, on this one. And we can ask him a few questions about sort of, because he's a minor league guy. This is what he does. So I'd love to hear his take on why they would keep a Drohan or an Uberstein over Bernardino. For Scooble next year, I could see that, Brent. I don't know that the Dodgers are going to be. Kyle Tucker, I could see them going for. $2 super chat from Robbie. The great Robbie Hyde, ladies and gentlemen. He says, my man, can you see if my ex is still hacked? No way, Robbie. Oh, man, that sucks. Let's take a peek here, huh? You're on private. 1 hour ago, you got this tweeted at you. But that's it. Shane Drohan is your cousin? That is sick. Oh boy, here we go. Do you want me to report it? Like, I can't really do anything about it. You want me to block you? A good idea going private, but yeah, that was the last one. I don't see anything else. Also, have you guys watched this yet? Make sure you guys watch this. It's under review? Okay. Well, let me know how that goes, Robbie. That sucks. I appreciate you donating, by the way. Didn't have to do that. I could see your chat. But yeah, just to sort of wrap up this, I think X made it private when I put in a request. Oh, smart. Actually, Robbie, while you're here, thoughts on Bo Bichette? Thoughts on Bo Bichette to the Red Sox? Would you like it? Would you not like it? And while he debates it in his head, actually, he's got bigger things going on. He might not be here, but. Just to wrap up sort of my thoughts as to Bo Bichette, like it's kind of like which do you prefer, right? Because he wouldn't come in as a shortstop. He would probably come into as a second baseman or a third baseman. If you're not bringing Bregman back, I like going after Bo Bichette. I really do. I like that a lot. I don't know, and I think Robbie's right here, right? I think the Red Sox will look at other options first. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And unfortunately, I think he's a little bit further down the Red Sox list because I think they are looking for a power bat first and then sort of figuring out where to go from there after. But if if they really want to go balls to the wall here, go with Pete and Bo Bichette and let's see what we can do, right? As much as I love Bregman and as much as I really think it should be Bregman and Alonso or Bregman and Schwarber, not one or the other, if you bring Bichette in and you say this is going to be our second baseman, you put Meyer at third, I think the defense is still solid. And then if you get Alonso over there, you're not only creating a better offense in terms of contact, you're also creating a younger offense, and you're getting that power bat that you wanted. So, I don't know. Bregman and Alonso, that's what I ultimately think should be the Red Sox goal, versatility, is Bregman and Alonso, right? That should be the two guys that they go and get. Bregman and Josh Bell, I would be livid if the Red Sox brought Bregman back and said, "Hey guys, your power bat, yeah, Josh Bell, baby." Listen, he's got his worth, right? He's been a productive hitter almost his entire career, but he's an absolutely terrible defensive player. Really a DH, right? That's basically what he is. He's a DH. And I mean, this just isn't. Who? Josh Bell? Josh Bell wasn't bad last year. I mean, it's not bad this year, if we're being totally honest, right? That's not terrible. There's a lot of power in there. Not a huge strikeout guy. Last year was not good. I think see, this is what drives me nuts. When do you guys decide whether or not you guys do, you say last year for 25 or this year for 25? For me, it's when the calendar year shifts over. But that's really dumb, and I understand that. Once the season's over, yeah, that makes sense. I heard about this guy in San Francisco. His name's Rafael Devers. Any thoughts on him? I like it, Dennis. I like it. Someone says Schwarber is also a DH only. Yeah, but the difference is this is Josh Bell's baseball savant page, right? This is Kyle Schwarber's. Little bit different here. You know what I mean? I wonder if Ketel Marte could be an option. I would say low chance, but interesting to think about Duran or Willier plus pitching. I don't think the D-backs would want to trade him, though. I sit here with the D-backs, dude. It kind of sounds like they want to. Let's see here. What's Steven Gilbert got to say on it? The Diamondbacks need to add pitching this offseason for 2 straight seasons, blah, blah, blah. I know that they're at least listening, right? They've got to be at least listening here. I don't know. Ketel would be incredible, to be honest with you. Ketel would be incredible. What would it take to get Ketel, though? It'd probably be like, what, Duran, Tolley, and Clark would be my guess. Officially, as far as MLB concerned, it's 2026. Yeah, I know. It's just tough for me to say last year because I feel like people automatically say, 2024, you know? What would you think about trading for Freddie Peralta and getting Koji from the Mets? Chris, who? Joe Ryan an option? To me, Joe Ryan should be an option. I don't know that. Again, I think that in order to get Joe Ryan, you're gonna have to blow him away. And my hope is that the Red Sox can get into a territory where they're willing to blow somebody away. I mean, they have all of the tools to do that. Corbin, of the 4 players, Bregman, Alonso, Schwarber, and Bichette, who do you see donning a Red Sox jersey? Right now, Mike, this is just gut. There's no inside information here. Again, I'm only a fan, right? So this is just gut. But if I had to pick, the players that I think are most likely to be in a Red Sox uniform, I think it's Alonso, then Schwarber, then Bregman. Is that makes sense? Pablo Lopez, Joe Ryan, or Sandy Alcantara. I mean, it's Joe Ryan. It's Joe Ryan. I'm just trying to figure out what would be most realistic. Might get posted this offseason. I'm gonna have to take a look. Did I ever go to the Lansdowne? No, I was probably too young. Take a look at Kona Takashi. I've heard a little bit about him. Bregman, Schwarber in that order. There's zero chance Schwarber's making it out of Philadelphia. As of this moment right now, here's the reasoning for that list. The reasoning is because as of this moment right now, it feels like Bregman is less likely to come back to the Red Sox than when he left the first sort of couple of days of this offseason. So we'll see. We'll see. You know, I've said it 1,000 times. There's gonna be weeks where it feels like Bregman's coming to Boston. There's gonna be weeks where it feels like he doesn't. It's the same thing. Is Schwarber's agency also no? His is not Boris, but Pete and Bregman are both Boris guys, right? If I'm not mistaken, Pete's also a Boris guy. Yeah. So they are gonna take a while to sign. And both of them, I feel like it's going to feel like the Red Sox are in, the Red Sox are out, the Red Sox are in, the Red Sox are out. So as of right now that I'm saying this, it feels like the Red Sox are more in on Alonso than they are Bregman. But I don't know. I just don't think Bregman has a market. Yeah, I don't totally disagree, actually. Now that you say that, and it's been something that I'm really bad at getting swept up in. I'm really bad at getting swept up in like reports. You know what I mean? They all kind of feel manufactured, right? It's like, oh, the Phillies could be interested. The Mariners could be interested. Now they're probably not interested if they were ever interested. The Tigers might be interested, but they just had Gleyber Torres come back for $22 million a year. Yeah, that's an interesting one. You'd like Ime over Ryan, wouldn't give up prospects. Yeah, I just don't know if the Red Sox are going to spend on a starter, I think. You think Bregman is a better starter than last year, though? I do think there are going to be some teams who didn't look at Bregman last year who are looking at him this year. I don't know if that means they're going to be willing to go to what, you know, he thinks he's worth or what the Red Sox think he's worth or anything like that. But I absolutely do see. Sorry, there is this McCormick ad playing in the like right here where my camera is, and they just had the most unseasoned turkey of all time I've ever seen. Look at this. Oh, it changed. I can't show you. But that got me totally thrown off. Breslow feels passive when it comes to Bregman. Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. It feels like with Bregman that they are sitting there and they're sort of being like, if it works out, it's going to work out. And if it doesn't, it doesn't, you know? And we'll see. You know what? You know, Breslow played the market really well with Bregman last year. You know, I'm sure he's going to try and do a similar thing this year, and we'll see kind of where it ends up. Yeah, in terms of corner infielders, I think it's Alonso, Bregman, Bichette in that order, and then it just sort of depends on what their markets look like from there. And I think that's what a lot of Red Sox fans feel. As much as I love Bregman, and again, the right move is to bring back both Bregman and Alonso, because again, they spent this entire offseason telling us they need to take a step forward, right? You get rid of Bregman, you bring in Alonso, you're not really taking a step forward. You're just adding more home runs, right? But you're kind of sitting in a similar spot that you were come the 2025 season, and you're probably going to end up right in that same range. If you can add Bregman and Alonso, you are taking a legitimate step forward. So to me, even with a healthy Meyer, right? Because a healthy Meyer, you could put at second base full time, and your infield defense is incredible. But you also need to make sure that Trevor Story is a legitimate shortstop this season. So, I don't know. 5 years for Alonso and give Bregman 20-something a year for, 3 or 4. I don't think that's going to cut it. I honestly don't know that Alonso gets a 5-year deal. I bet it's like 4. Excuse me. I hope Bregman comes back and they'll sign. And they sign, and I'll take any number 2 starter. Yeah, that's true. How many errors did Bregman have versus Rafi? Probably about the same, actually. Costas' wild card could put lineup over the top. Could also not be a factor at all. Only signing one of those guys doesn't make us better than last year. I think we need 2 bats. Yes, exactly. Exactly what I've been saying. Like if you can stop, if you start with just Alonso and you're like, look, we're expecting Meyer to take a step forward. We're expecting Christian Campbell to take that step forward. That's the exact opposite of what you said the entirety of coming into this offseason, right? I mean, Craig Breslow multiple times. Like I could pull up the quote in 2 seconds here. On 310 to left, on the end of the year press conference, on WEEI, he said 3 different times, we cannot expect everyone to take a step forward. To sit there and say, hey, we've added Pete Alonso and now we're expecting these guys to take a step forward is exactly the thing that you did not want to do. So to me, it has to be at the bare minimum 2 bats, right? Whether it's Bregman or not, you need to get Alonso in here. Give me a Bellinger, and you're going to say, hey, Alonso's going to get mostly DH. Bellinger's going to play first base. I don't know, right? But figure it out. Get 2 bats in here. We need 2 names in this lineup to legitimately propel it forward as opposed to just make it the same in a different, like it would literally be the same lineup with a different font, right? It would probably end up being the same amount of production overall, but now you got a guy who's going to hit a little bit more home runs, and that's it. Yeah, Michael, obviously, right? The number 2 pitcher is always sort of the caveat there. We're like, yeah, you got to get a number 2 in there for sure. Again, I said in my video today, my hope is that the Red Sox, with sort of the relieving side of things, Michael, is that they're sitting there saying, look, if we build up our rotation enough, we could push some of these super talented lefties, super talented pitchers in general into the bullpen, right? I'm talking like that sort of back end names, the Fitzes. I don't know where Fitzies came from. Fitzes, Dobbins, Early, Tolley, Harrison, Sandoval, Crawford, Pareles, and later down the road, Witherspoon, right? You could sit there with name like 10 guys, and then you've got the 3 guys who were just saved from the Rule 5 draft. So, I mean, you got a ton of people here, right? What about Eugenio Suarez at first? I don't like Suarez. I don't want Suarez in here. I don't want Suarez in here. I get he's a home run guy. I get he played really well last year. I just like the profile to me. It's just like this right here is terrifying. The chase rate's terrifying. He doesn't have great bat speed. The velocities weren't great. I just like to me, I don't think he's a real this is a true improvement on what the Red Sox are trying to do. So I would be frustrated if this was the power bat the Red Sox brought in. I feel like the only way the Red Sox sit here with a guy like Suarez is if Bregman goes to Detroit, Alonso goes back to the Mets, Schwarber goes back to the Phillies, and the Sox are like, we need somebody. We need somebody, right? And you can't get Kazuma. We need a number 2, maybe a number 3. No. Bayo I think is a solid number 3. Bayo I think is a very, very solid number 3. If your number 3 is posting a 3.35 ERA, yeah, and a 2.5 WAR, you have a pretty good rotation. I'm not worried about it. Plus you got guys like Early. I mean, Crawford to some degree, right? But Tolley even to some degree, Harrison to some degree, who could all develop into a number 3. So I'm not worried about number 3. I want a number 2. You need 2 guys who you could sit there and say, these are going to be our 2. If we go into a playoff series, that we're going to try and go for, right? What are the odds of Scooble getting dealt? I would say low. Story or Bichette? It's Story because Story's cheaper, and I think ultimately Story's capable of better defense. Also, don't go see Motley Crue. Do not. Have you guys seen the videos of, oh my God, what's his face? Hold on. It's going to come to me. Vince Neil? Yeah, Vince Neil. He did not age well. My guess is Tolley is the number 2 no matter what's brought up by the time we get to September and down the stretch. I would say I would be more open to being like, yeah, I agree with you, Ryan. if you were talking about 2027. I just don't think that Tully's going to develop into a number 2 starter right away. I personally, my plan, if I'm the Red Sox, is Tully in the bullpen to start the year. Let him continue to develop those off-speed pitches, because in 1 or 2 inning bursts, he was a pretty solid reliever, right? I could even see him developing into a high-leverage reliever, and then as he develops, start moving him into the rotation. Maybe fills in for a guy when he gets hurt, or something like that as the year goes on. What about the Pirates being in on Schwarber, Corbin? I don't believe it for a second that the Pirates are signing anybody. Yeah, Samuel, we'll see. We'll see what happens with Bregman. How long do I think the lockout will be? I think a lot of the lockout right now is sort of doomsday stuff, right? I think it's a lot of, sort of worst case scenarios. And we saw this a lot in 22 actually too, where like, it was like immediately there's going to be no baseball and baseball's not happening. And then, we get towards baseball season. It's like the sides are meeting, the sides are figuring out, and they figure it out, right? It was a shortened spring training. So to me, I'm sort of sitting here with the lockout and just sort of waiting patiently to see what happens. That would really suck for this channel, though, I'll tell you that much right now. If Robbie's still here, I'm sure he'll agree. If Andrew's still here, I'm sure he'll agree as well. If there's a lockout, I'm going to be pissed. Speaking of Andrew, let's see if we can get him on. Here. If you guys didn't know, Andrew Parker just got hired by Sox prospects to talk about some minor league stuff. There was a lot of minor league stuff that happened yesterday. I thought it wouldn't be a terrible idea to have him on here and see if we can have a conversation about why the Red Sox would want to do this. It'll be a quick one. And is this something you guys are interested in? I don't know. But we will we'll try it out here. I'm just logging in. Sorry, chat. I don't know if this is going to work. Can you guys still see me? Yeah, you guys can still see me, right? I mean, the camera just got a lot smaller, but you guys can still see me. I'm very curious to see how this goes. Can you guys still see me? Okay. Andrew, I'm going to send you a link. 1 second. All right, chat. And if this works, we'll have Andrew on. I apologize. This was sort of a really last minute thing, so we'll see how this goes. But Andrew, again, big minor league guy, has broken some really sort of bigger minor league news. All right, external headphones. So he just signed with Sox prospects. We're going to see if we can get him in here and talk about what he's going to do. I don't know why this immediately got so much smaller. There we go. Pirates are going to be rumored to all the big free agents, and they're going to only walk away with the play. Yeah, I agree. Dustin May back, I would drop dead. If Dustin May is coming back to the Boston Red Sox, I'll drop dead. Red Sox receive Cole Reagans. Royals receive Jaron Duran, Vaughn Grissom, Brandon Clark, Yoel Cespedes, Miguel Blaze. I from my point of view, it works. I don't know. I don't know from the Royals' point of view if it works or not. What do I think about Story at second base and Meyer at shortstop? I have been begging the Boston Red Sox to do that. I have been begging them to try and do that. My official prediction for two prominent additions. Prominent, I'm gonna say Alonso and Chris Bubik. Those are my two. Those are my two off the head right now. Ah, he's in here. Let me see if he can hear me. Can you hear me? Oh, wait, I can't hear you. Hold on. External headphones. Settings. Audio. Speaker. All right, say something. Ah, now I can hear him. Okay, let me just put you on here. Making the debut. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, they can now see you.
Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Andrew Parker. Again, just to reiterate, been a long time. What would you call yourself? Minor league beat reporter? What would you call yourself?
Yeah, just like minor league beat reporter, writer. I don't know. I've done a little bit of everything in the minor leagues.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I met him when you were covering essentially the Woo Sox, right?
Yep.
Okay. So we've known each other for a little bit now. Was it yesterday or was it a couple of days ago that it was announced that you're officially joining the Sox prospect squad?
Yeah, so I got approached by Chris Hatfield and Ian that run the site. They do all the podcasts. They go to the games. They scout. I got approached by them a couple months back about the possibility of it happening, and yeah, and then they reached out this past week and said we'd love to add you. So I was doing a lot of stuff with Beyond the Monster and with my partner in crime, Chris Henrique, and he's been covering the Red Sox for the Boston Sports Journal with Greg Bedard. So we kind of realized like, hey, if there's a better opportunity that comes around, it's gonna come around. So and Sox Prospects was that opportunity.
Someone just said, "Welcome, minor league Red Seat affiliate Andrew." I like it. All right, so let's give the chatters here a little bit of resume here. What would you say was sort of your like, yeah, I broke this kind of one? Because you've had a few.
Oh
You've definitely had a
man.
few really good ones. I think in my mind it's Peyton Tolley.
Yeah, I mean, I had like some of the top prospects this past year, like Tolley getting called up. I think I had maybe when he got up to Double A and Triple A, or maybe even had him to the bigs. I
Yeah,
don't
I think
remember.
you had him to the big leagues. I think it was you who I saw
Um,
with the big leagues. You just broke the trade, right? One of the trades too.
yeah, and then, well, I had the Sandlin, but that one was pretty obvious.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had Arias this year. I don't know, just like some smaller ones that kind of keep me afloat. So just keep the engine running.
Yeah, so there are a couple of things that I want to talk about, but I also want to make sure that the audience as well gets a chance to ask you some questions. So we got one from Jay here. What do you think about Campbell since he's been in the minors, and sort of what do you think he's going to do in 25 or 26 now?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to. I mean, it was very interesting that Breslow, because he doesn't ever give us anything in his press conferences, and when he was at the meetings, I think they were over the ones that were in Arizona or Vegas, wherever he was. He had mentioned that Campbell possibly could be playing winter ball, and I don't think they would even bring up that idea unless they were fully confident that Campbell either found his swing again or something. Because if he was, like I look at it this way, if he was a guy that was a little lost or he wasn't really going down the right path into the offseason, they probably wouldn't be sending him to any sort of winter league to go get some at bats and with a different coaching staff and all that. So that was an encouraging sign to me. I think I hope he's going to have a really good offseason. We've seen this so many times where guys, have the offseason of their lives. And I know, our good friend Rob Bradford always jokes like everybody's in the shape of their life in spring training. But we got to hope that Christian Campbell is in the best shape of his life to put together a good 2026.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so the big one I wanted to ask you, and what Austin just asked in the chat as well, is can you kind of explain the reasoning? So I do understand David Sandlin, and I talked about it a lot in the video here, where it was sort of the Red Sox kind of always believed in his stuff, right? The results were never really there, but the stuff was always really good. And so as he started to develop here, the Red Sox really that was a guy that they latched onto. But with you know Drohan and Uberstein, what do you think the reasoning was behind both those guys getting added?
Well, it's interesting to me with the well, I'll go Shane Drohan first, just because he's a lefty They moved him to the bullpen later in the year after he had some injuries throughout the year. He's had injury concerns over the last couple seasons. Obviously, he got picked by the White Sox in Rule 5 draft, got injured, got returned. But after he came back and they had him they moved him out of the starting rotation just because there were so many starters in Worcester at the end of the year last year. He looked really good. He was missing more bats. His stuff obviously ticked up a little bit. You know, that's kind of like a common theme with guys, but he took to it very well, and he started getting swings and misses with his cutter. He has started to look like a true guy that is going to end up getting a look as one of the lefty relievers in the Red Sox bullpen. It said a lot by trading away Bernardino and Chris Murphy that they think that highly of Drohan to be better than those two. So I do think they will add probably another lefty or two for like a Justin Wilson type or something like that. But it speaks highly that I think he might get on the opening day roster as that second lefty out of the bullpen, minus Aroldis Chapman, obviously.
Yeah, that's kind of wild. So was that sort of the reasoning in your mind as to why they kind of cleared house with Bernie and Murphy?
Yeah, you can kind of look at it last year with it wasn't really the same exact example, but when they shipped Cam Boozer out, it was one of those things where it's like, okay, we're going to DFA Cam Boozer because we want to sign, they wanted to go out and get a Justin Wilson and they already had Bernardino's and so they kind of valued those guys a little more than Cam Boozer. So they're like, he's going to get traded. So I kind of, and I think that's kind of the consensus on the other two lefties that were just dealt is like, hey, we view Shane Drohan, we got to add him to the 40 man anyway to get protected. It's like we think we could trust him. He has a higher ceiling, whatever, than the other two guys dealt.
So what about Uberstein then? Because Uberstein's not a lefty, right? He did spend a considerable time in the rotation down in AAA this season, and I think he got a little bit of bullpen experience, but I'm sure you could talk about that more. From your point of view, what do you think about Uberstein being added?
I was a little surprised that he got added. Not in the sense that he wasn't good enough to be added, but I just thought given with the 40 man's full at the moment, and they're like you've been talking about this whole show, they better be signing some players to go on that 40
right.
man. So you're gonna have to get rid of some guys off of the 40 man at some point. So I was a little surprised that they took a spot with Uberstein, and but I do like what he brings. And I thought he possibly could have been an option at the end of last season because he's never going to be the guy that's going to get called up and be like the Connolly early and strike out 12 or whatever it was in his debut or anything like that. But he's so consistently good that he will constantly go 5, 6 innings. If you look at his pitch log for the end of the season in Worcester, he was so consistent with like going 5 or 6 innings almost every outing. He's not the guy that's going to blow, to strike out every guy he faces or anything like that. But I think that he's just so reliable to just eat innings, and it's like your typical like if he's the guy that's the seventh or eighth pitcher on your depth chart for your starting rotation for the major league squad, and just maybe get called up for a spot start if there's some injuries like we saw last year. I fully trust him to be able to take the ball and at least give the team a chance to win that game.
Yeah. So you think from the Red Sox point of view, it's more of creating that. I always talk about this safety net that the Red Sox build up, and I feel like that was sort of my idea as to why Tyler Uberstein was added, and it sounds like that's exactly what you're thinking as well. So we're gonna totally pivot now because we're going back to the chat here. We'll start with Chris here. What do you think of Witherspoon?
Oh, Kyson Witherspoon.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously didn't get to see him pitch last year, so I'm super intrigued, obviously, on how his stuff is going to go towards pro ball. I would assume that he would start the 2026 year in Greenville. So, but I think he has a potential to be a guy that rises pretty quickly, and I know that's becoming like a common theme with we just all of us just watched the World Series and saw what Trey Savage did, where he started the year in low A and was pitching in the World Series. Peyton Tolley's another good example. It's like you're starting to see these arms, these first or second round guys that were college guys and they were good in college. Like I feel like you're starting to see teams be like, you know what, maybe we can be a little more aggressive with some of these guys. And I think Witherspoon's like one of those guys that's somehow he fell to the Red Sox at their spot. And I'm super intrigued to see him in spring training because we haven't seen him yet in professional, in pro ball. So I don't really know what to think yet, just because I liked his college success, but pro success, as you know, is just
Totally
a whole different
different.
ballgame.
Yeah. What's up, Exist? Sorry. Dennis says, Harrison, what's his role?
Oh,
Good
that's a
luck.
tough one. Yeah, I mean, as we all saw what Harrison kind of did last year, and I still to this day think it's super weird slash intriguing a little bit that you had Kyle Harrison right there on the 40-man roster. He was, supposed to be the main piece essentially in the Devers trade, and what did they do? They called up two other
Yeah,
lefties.
they went early totally before
They
him.
went before him. So like I don't know what that says about whether it's they just didn't think he was ready or they just liked Connolly and Peyton Tolley a little better. But I always did find that very intriguing that they ended up using a 40-man spot this entire offseason on Early and Tolley, who didn't need to be added this offseason, by the way. So I don't know. Harrison's just like that weird in between. Like I could see him starting the year in Worcester's rotation, maybe the second arm up there with Dobbins or something, or maybe they move him to a piggyback role, a bullpen role. I have no idea. He is a true wild card.
By definition, I think, yeah, wild card.
You
One thing
laughing?
that I did want to ask you while I had you on here is it feels like this offseason is going to be, there's going to be a trade done. It feels like there's something in the works here that's going to be significant. Obviously, there, you have a lot of the prospects you had last year at the big league level now, and it feels like those aren't names the Red Sox are fully willing to move on from. So you take a look at the Red Sox farm system. It took a bit of a hit between 25 and 26. Who do you think are some of the guys that you could see in a significant package here that maybe we aren't talking about as much?
Yeah, I mean, I guess who would, in your mind, who would be the guys that you think that are being talked about a lot,
I,
like in these packages?
yeah, I would say, guys like Romero, Arias.
Yep.
I would even say, to some degree, Tolley, Harrison, early, kind of that conversation as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a few. I mean, obviously, like I'm sure you see the same, um, you see the same mock trades that come across the Twitter feed, and I feel like I agree with you. Everyone, I see the password in it. I see,
Yeah.
I see Mikey Romero's name in it. I see,
Who, by the way, I would be heartbroken if they trade. I love Mikey.
yes, same. And I think it's also pretty telling that, that if you've looked at a lot of their trades dating all the way back to the Crochet trade, most of their trades for their bigger acquisitions, and I'll even throw Dustin May in there as well, just because he was a deadline ad.
Huge
Not that
addition,
like,
by the way.
yeah, not that
Game
like he
changing
was
addition,
good.
some say.
But like he was a trade deadline ad that,
Sure.
did cost something.
Oh, yeah.
So they've traded a lot of position prospects, and it's almost to the point where there's not really a lot left after your Justin Garcia and Franklin Arias. Like there's not really a whole lot there that could, headline a package or be that like second piece. You're gonna have to trade from the pitching depth that they've acquired it, whether it's like you said, it could be a guy like Connolly early that's actually gone out and shown it. It could be, a Richard Fitz, even though I don't know if its value is super high. But everybody's always looking for controllable young pitching. So I just think there could be some guys that maybe aren't on your radar as much, like a Blake Ida. He's a guy that kind of popped last year in Greenville, and he was a 2023 draft pick, 2024. I might be getting that confused. He was one of the last two drafts, not 25. But he ended up looking really well this year. You just look for names kind of like that. I mean, Brandon Clark could rebound a little bit. Maybe he has some value. But I would definitely assume they would be trading out of their pitching depth in the minors.
Which would be kind of interesting because it feels like with the trades that they made for the Rule 5 draft, they're like, in my opinion at least, they're trying to balance out the system a little bit. They trade for a ton of, I mean, a ton. It was two catchers, but still, that's a significant amount of catchers in the trade world here. Feels like they're trying to balance it out. Would you think it would push the scales too far back into the position player side of things? Feels like we've been doing this dance where it's like Heim's the position guy, Breslow's the pitching guy. Can we find somewhere in the middle?
Yeah, I don't. I don't want to be the guy to kind of talk about, which me and Ian Kundle kind of broke down a little bit on the the episode that was just put out today. But um, the players you got back for some of those trades, I just don't know how much they will be
Mm,
like affecting towards the like ever being like big league options is what I'm
right, the
saying. And
top guys.
yeah, and then like I know that Ian was kind of hinting at like only one of those guys that came in is going to be ranked by the Sox prospect staff. Like it's only going to be Heyman. It's the only one that's going to be drafted, and he is the one that I'm like most excited about because if you kind of look at like some of the guys they brought in, like Ronnie Hernandez, the catcher that came over from the White Sox. He's repeated low A 2 years in a row. I mean, he's
Yeah,
only 21, but like he's not really much with the bat. He's not really a whole lot with the glove either. But that was a position group they desperately needed in the low minors. Like they did not have enough catchers in the low minors going into the second half of the season. They had to go out and sign an undrafted free agent, Caleb Berry. So that position group is super thin. Obviously, we don't really have a whole lot of top prospects at the catching position. I guess minus Johan Fran Garcia. I don't really see a whole lot down there in terms
yeah.
of catching position, but some of these guys they brought in, I think another one was Tristan Gray. He's a guy that actually is on the 40-man roster, and like he actually might get a cup of coffee. So I guess that's the only one I guess that I didn't, I guess relatively. I know that wasn't the one to clear the with the Rule 5 draft, but I don't know. I'm very excited about Heyman though.
Yeah, he looks like a dog actually. I was shocked the Red Sox got him for that was the minor league trade, right? That was Hoppy.
Yeah, that was Hoppy. They were going to lose Hoppy in the Rule 5 draft, and they ended up
Turning
flipping
him
him
into.
for. Yeah, I like that's business that I love from Craig Buzzle. He's done it 2 years in a row now, and I love it.
Yeah, that is one thing Breslow's been really good at. Celtics fan is saying, do you think Dorian Soto has an all-star potential, and is it likely he reaches that level?
Ooh, yeah, that's always tough, right? Because you saw what he did last year in the DSL, and I think DSL is always just so tough because you have guys down there. Like there was just an example, with just the other day, the Red Sox ended up releasing their highest bonus guy from last year's class, Vladimir Cincio, and they gave over $1 million to Cincio, and they cut him in a year. So it's like you truly just never know what's going to happen in the DSL, and you don't know like the type of competition he's facing. Like he could, there could be teams that they're facing down there that aren't very good, and I am very impressed with his with his bat. Obviously, the defense looks pretty good. He's gonna definitely stick on the left side of the infield, so. I'm intrigued. He's going to start in the FCL in 2026, and I hope he gets put up to Salem very soon because I do want to see how that's going to translate to the States.
So so is the natural progression for the Dominican players? Because does it differ between guys? Like you see, like I feel like I see some guys come over, they go Florida Complex League, then Low A. Some guys just skip the Complex League, go straight to Low A. Is that case by case, or the Red Sox have a bit of a strategy?
Yeah, it's different per team, but I know the Red Sox do a very good job of down in Fort Myers at the complex. They have a whole like they almost have something set up that's kind of like classes where it's like it kind of looks like, a hallway like in your old high school or something. But they have these classes and these guys that come over for the States, like they have to get acquainted to the United States. Some of the well, actually all of them have never lived in the United States prior to playing in the DSL. So they'll do English classes. They'll talk about, just common like literacy, like just common things that me and you probably learned when we were, 5, 6 from our parents. Like they have to learn everything. Like they don't know like the currency, they don't know anything like for
Yeah.
the most time. So it's like they're like 16, 17 years old when they're coming over. So they try their best to put the guys in the complex to at least get acquainted. Like, hey, we have a space down in Florida where it's like they're around a bunch of other guys that speak their own language. It makes them a little more comfortable in coming to the States for the first time, and they're able to learn English. They're able to start like really starting to live in America. Then they'll go send them to Salem, Virginia, which is not the easiest place to adapt when you're when you're first in America. I'm going to be honest.
Oh man, yeah,
Have you
that's
ever been to
gotta be
Salem?
no.
Oh,
Does is
it's
anyone in
beautiful,
chat
but
here in the area of Salem? I know we've got a couple of guys from Virginia in here, but I'm curious to see if Andrew was right about that statement right
it's
there.
not bad. It's just like it's just in the middle of nowhere. So it's
Yeah,
like you're going from living in the Dominican to
right.
now going to live in Western Virginia in the mountains. Like it's a very different vibe out there.
Yeah, I can see that. Okay, so we got Dennis here who's asking, what do you think of Justin Gonzalez? Speaking of DSL.
Yeah, that was actually the one guy I was going to bring up that he was kind of the case that they didn't keep in the complex league that long. I think he played like, I think it was what, 2 games, 1 game. I think they,
It was one singular game this year, yeah.
yes, one singular game they had him in the complex. So like with a guy like him, he's just a different beast. I mean, I remember seeing him when I was down in Fort Myers last year over on the backfield. There was a lot of the Latin America guys were all kind of together, and he stuck out like a sore thumb because he's like 6'4". He looks like he's like 6'6". But he's just a big dude. Obviously, the bat is legit. He was playing center field back in spring training, and he obviously ended up playing some outfield. I don't know where he's going to stick, down the line, but yeah, he was a different animal that they were just like, listen, he's like that good that he should not be sticking around the FCL, which that gave me some alarm bells that came off in a good way. That it's like, okay, like they like getting these guys acquainted and staying down there for a little bit, but not him. So. I'm pretty high on him. I know all the Sox prospects guys are pretty high on him. The bat's legit. Just got to see like what position he's going to truly stick at because they had him playing a few different positions this year. But I think he could probably easily stick in a corner outfield or first base role.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I saw last year I wouldn't say mainly first baseman, but a majority first baseman. This year, it doesn't even look like he got an inning at first base. It's kind of
No, which
low.
surprised me a ton. But they're trying to keep, obviously it's kind of it's a little bit of mind games. Like I don't know if you remember, like with Justice and Garcia, where there were some talks where it's like, hey, he's a big right-handed bat, and the Red Sox had a big opening at first base last year.
Yeah,
They're like,
yeah.
why is he not getting first base reps? And it's like, well, we got to keep the trade value up. He's got to be an outfielder because first basemen just don't have the value. So I think maybe some of that's kind of going on. Like, let's keep him out there as long as possible, just in case, he is possibly a piece in a deal or something like that. Because I know teams like him. So I don't know. It's always those mind games about what position he's at with the value.
I could kind of see we were just talking about guys kind of under the radar in terms of trading. I mean, I don't think that I think they really like Gonzalez and gonna try and hold on to him. I don't know that he's gonna stand in the way of I don't know, Joe Ryan or Hunter Green or anything like that. So I could kind of see his name being brought up as well.
Yeah, I mean he went. I mean, what he started like we just said, he literally played 1 game in the FCL, but he ended the year in Greenville. He didn't stick around in
Yeah.
Salem too long, so they thought highly enough that they promoted him twice in
Struggled
2025.
struggled
So
in Greenville, but yeah, definitely got that promotion up there.
yeah, but like you can look at it that way. It's like it was towards the end of the year. It's like he'd had a really long season. It was his first ever year in the
It's a
United
good
States.
point. It's a good
He's
point.
away from his family for the longest he's ever been in his life. Sometimes guys just, it starts to get to him a little bit once you get into that sixth, seventh month of the year. And, he was maybe missing home. I don't know. I don't want to like, make excuses or anything,
Right.
but I don't know. If I put myself in that position, I'd probably feel the same way.
Yeah, especially at only 18, man. That's
Oh yeah,
crazy.
he's young, dude,
Yeah,
young.
that's wild. All right, so Brent's got a question for you. There were a couple of guys, and he specifically mentioned Miguel Blaze and Yoel Cespedes, guys who have sort of he called it the lights have dimmed a bit on their track to Major League Baseball. Are there any chances, from your point of view, of either of these guys getting back into the swinging things as one of these top prospects, or is there anyone that you think the lights have dimmed on that he did not mention that could do something similar?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll start with Miguel Bleis, and he's the guy that I think literally it was probably what 2 years ago, less than 2 years ago, he
One of the
was
top
like a
prospects.
yeah, he was like a top
Six.
five, top 10 prospect, whatever it was, and I think he was like right behind the Marcelo and Roman, and he was kind of like that next like wave, and he was that guy to get excited about. It's like okay, obviously we know Roman and all these guys are going to be studs, but like well, who's next after them? And it was like a him, Mikey Romero. You had like that whole group, and he's kind of fallen out. And it's like, I don't know. I truly just don't know because if you ever see the guy, he is as physically gifted as you will see a player. I almost feel like when he came over to the States for the first time, like he was already maxed out with his body. Like his frame was already built like a Major League Baseball player. So it never seemed like it was the makeup of him or like that sometimes you see guys that's like, okay, like we kind of see why he's not panning out just because of his body type, whatever it is. Like he has the body type, he has the speed, he is able to field really well. It just hasn't really translated with his bat. I mean, dating all the way back to 2024 when he got to Greenville, he's just looked overmatched in high A, and sometimes it happens, but I don't know. He did get up to Portland for a little bit. I'm not sure if that was necessarily like, hey, like we feel like he's doing well enough to get up to Double A, but I feel like they just need to see like what he is because if he is what he is in the box that he was in High A, I'm just not really seeing that he's ever going to get up to his true potential that he was 2 years ago. Sometimes that happens though. Sometimes guys really go scorching hot in low minors, and then the real test is when they get up to high Double A, and then they start to get a little exposed by some of the higher prospects in those levels. So. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think I was very disappointed. I mean, I hope he proves me wrong and proves everybody wrong that he's going to come out and he's going to have a really hot start to 2026 with Portland because he desperately needs it.
Yeah. What about one guy you think that has kind of lost that a bit? Sort of in that Miguel Blaze range. Although there aren't too many prospects in the Sox system who've completely fallen off. But is there anyone you could see sort of taking that step? Because he mentioned Yoelis Cespedes. I think the difference between Miguel Blaze and Yoelin is Yoelin's a lot younger. And
Yeah,
they're both young, but Yoelin's a lot younger, and he got up to what, high A last season,
he was in low A.
low
Yeah.
A, yeah. So in my mind, that feels like a guy who's a little bit easier to get himself back into that sort of notoriety range. Maybe I'm totally off base on that though.
No, I think you're completely right. I mean, he's only 20, and maybe he's not as not as good in the field as everybody kind of thought he was going to be. But I'd still give him some time. I mean, he just finished his first year in low A this past year. He'll probably start the next season in Greenville unless there's like a big influx of guys coming in. But I think he should. We'll be patient with him. But I think the only other guy that I can truly think of right now in terms of that I was pretty high on and they've kind of, I feel like that light's kind of flickered a little bit is Nelly Taylor.
Mm.
And Nelly Taylor was one of the representatives that went down to the Arizona Fall League for the Red Sox, and he did not look that good. He finished up the year in Greenville this past year, and he just did not have it after having a really good 2024 that saw him start the year in Salem, get up to Greenville for a very short stint, and ended up looking very good with the bat. He is one of the better fielders in the system. I think he was named the Defensive Player of the Year in 2024 for the organization. He was out for the award again in 2025. So the glove's no joke. The glove is ready to go up to AAA at this point, but the bat is super behind. He just looks a little lost right now, and I don't know if it was a fatigue thing that he just played so much, but he looked lost in the fall league. So he's a guy that I was pretty high on, and I thought he was going to rise a little bit just because of what he was doing in the outfield. As we see, there's guys like Rafaela that are making themselves a name and having an everyday job for literally his glove. So I don't know. I was a little disappointed with Nelly Taylor.
Name to pay attention to if you're looking for prospects this season. Claps Clout underscore. I missed the underscore in there. What do you think about Mike Romero? Will the Red Sox use him this season at the big league level?
You'll have to ask me this question again in February if he's still in the organization. But if he is still in the organization, as if he's not part of a package for a starting pitcher or anything like that, I hope so because I think Mikey has shown tremendous strides with where he came from because as everybody probably is aware, like, he was a first round pick in 2022 and he missed a ton of time after being drafted. He's finally been able to put together a healthy season and he got up to Worcester this past year. He held his own. 745 OPS is nothing to sniff at. So I don't know. I just think I just don't truly know where he's going to play. And I think we've seen a lot of guys on the 40-man roster lately, given Nick Sogard and Nate Eaton's another example, and then Tristan Gray is another example. And you have all these guys that they play the same positions as Mikey. They're already on the 40-man roster. They have big league experience. So I just feel like he's just a little further down on the depth chart, and I just don't know if he's going to be able to get a shot.
Yeah, I actually don't disagree. I think the one thing I will say though is last year we saw the Red Sox have to get all the way to Nate Eaton, right? Have to get all the way to Sogard. I wouldn't be shocked to see him at least get a cup of coffee if he stays in the organization here. By the way, 10 minutes left on the Zoom call. I don't know if you got that notification too, which I'm kind of surprised by. I thought it was recording. Anyways, we'll keep powering through these questions here. So 10 minutes left in stream chat if you're wondering. What about Alan Castro?
Oh man, that I he was a guy that I was possibly going to talk about the light flickering a little bit, but at the same time, I think that would have been completely unfair because if you look at the back of the baseball card numbers of Castro, he looked pretty good in Portland. Obviously, he was back for his second. Well, he had a little short stint there at the end of 24, but he dealt with an injury this year. He did miss quite a bit of time during the summer. So I don't know if it possibly was just he just didn't get into a rhythm, but he ended up looking pretty good to end the season. But I thought he was again going to be in that group that maybe rose up. Like, maybe you had like given like a year and a half ago, like you had, the big three, big four, whatever you want to call them. Then you had that second group that we talked about earlier. Now I think Castro was like on the fringe of that second group going into that third group. And I don't know if he would even crack my top 20 right now. So,
Wow. Okay.
but I do like him. I mean, and it's probably unfair to like, maybe knock him a little bit just based off of him being injured this past year and, just getting out of that groove. But I just don't truly know what he brings to the table that they already don't have. Like, I don't know if he'll ever be a guy that will actually get up to Boston and play like meaningful games for the Red Sox is what I'm saying.
Yeah, so another one of those names to sort of add into the pile of, hey, this could be a guy that gets moved this offseason. Um,
Correct.
this has nothing to do with minor league baseball, but Raisel Iglesias just signed a 1-year deal with the Braves to go back to Atlanta, and the reporting is that he received around $16 million offers from the Dodgers and Blue Jays, but turned them both down. I don't know what he signed with the Braves, but that is wild.
Wow. Might be setting the market for relievers
Yeah,
there.
I was just thinking that actually. I'm kind of curious to see what he got from the dude. The Red Sox going for you mentioned Pete Fairbanks at the beginning here. That
I'm
would
just
be
biased.
so sick. Wait, what?
He's a Mizzou legend. I'm
Oh,
biased.
there we go. I was
Yeah,
waiting for
no.
the.
Yeah. No, I don't, it's not like no stats, anything like I'm driven by. I mean, he's been good, but, and he never blinks either when he's on the mound. And I love that. So he's kind of a psychopath.
Yeah, it's a 1-year, $16 million deal. I wonder if that's sort of the. And Rysel was all right here. Like Rysel wasn't like one of the. I wouldn't put him in the top 5-ish. I wonder what Edwin Diaz is gonna end up with.
Oh,
A
that's,
lot, huh?
yeah. I mean, I bet the Yankees are going to throw bags of money at him. Because I mean, I was even seeing that Devin Williams was getting like a ton of interest, and I'm sure he's probably going to sign a similar deal to Iglesias. So, not sure.
All right, so there's one guy. I don't know how often you're in these chats, but Mr. Money Mike Madness is obsessed with David Hamilton.
Okay, that's interesting.
So we're gonna need your analysis on what David Hamilton's role in the Red Sox is gonna be. Thanks for being here, Jay. I appreciate it.
David Hamilton. I mean, it's you've seen him as much as I have. It's just like, what do you get from David Hamilton other than elite speed? And he looks pretty good at second base. I'll give him
Yeah,
that.
yeah, he does actually.
I just feel like he's so difficult to describe, I feel like, because some days I feel like when I'm going online onto the old social media machine, some days I feel like everybody just hates him. Like everybody's like done with him. They're like, yeah, like probably send him down, all this. But then there's some days where it's like, oh, okay, like I see like what's there. And I just feel like he hasn't truly put it together for a long stretch. He did for a little bit. I think that was what 2024 at the end of the season. Kind of put it together a decent little stretch
Yeah,
that made
there
it
was
like,
actually the end of the year. Didn't he hit over 300 for like the last month or something like that?
yeah, and they were like talking about flipping him for like a starter in
Yeah.
the off season, which they probably should have done. But yeah, it's just like one of those things where 2025, he did not look very good. He didn't really have like a ton of playing time, but I don't know. I like David Hampton, nice guy to be around, obviously, as you know, like being in Worcester with him.
Yeah,
Very
really nice guy.
quiet,
Yeah.
quiet,
Polite.
nice guy, goes about his business.
Sure.
Um, yeah, no complaints from me. I just don't really see like what value other than the speed he brings.
I totally agree here. Someone just asked me if I'm a Red Sox fan.
Tough.
No, Detroit Tigers. Huge Detroit guys here. All right, so we'll end with one. We'll end with sort of the yeah. We'll end with this question here, and this is all off the top of my head, so I apologize if this comes out kind of crazy.
Oh,
Um, let's do this sort of a two-parter here. Give me your number one. This is going to be a guy impacting the big leagues this year, prospect wise for the Sox.
okay.
And
Is
two,
okay.
give me one guy who you think everyone's going to assume is going to make an impact, but doesn't end up making an impact.
Are there like any rules? Is it allowed to be a guy on the 40? Is it allowed to be a AAA
Yeah,
guy
just
right
basically
now?
anyone who
Okay.
has a rookie status coming in at 25 or 26.
I mean, I could be lame and say like Connolly Early is going to impact the team the most, but that's kind of like a boring answer because we already know. So like I'm not going to
That's
say like a
bunting.
Peyton
That is
Tolley.
bunting.
I know I'm not going to say it. I'm trying to think because like obviously I think Connolly is the guy that will impact the most, but we kind of talked about this guy earlier, so I'm gonna like I have another one, but Shane Drowan is probably going to get a ton of time in the bullpen at some point. So he should be a pretty good impact as long as he gets off to the right start. But we did talk about him earlier, so I don't want to burn it on him. Gosh, I don't know who I would say would be the
Someone
guy.
said Pareles. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess he could be like another obvious one, but just due to him being on the 40-man roster, and he's been on the 40 now for a couple years. So yeah, I mean, you could honestly go like any of the pitchers in Worcester to start the year. Like you could take from a list of like totally early. I don't want to count Dobbins because I don't consider him a rookie anymore. Perales, Drowan, Uberstein even. I don't think he's gonna have a huge impact. There is a guy that I do really like that I don't know if he's still going to be here when the season comes around, and that's Hayden Mullins.
Oh, someone asked a question about him, and I forgot to ask you about it. So please, quick
Yeah.
synopsis. We got 2 minutes here. Can he
Okay.
do it?
Yeah. Hayden Mullins could get taken in the Rule 5 draft just because he was left unprotected. He was probably that fourth guy on the list of, the three ahead of him that got protected. I think he was probably the next in line. I could see, there could be an argument for him getting taken. There could be one for him not getting taken. I mean, he does walk a lot of guys, but he does strike out a ton of guys, and he's a left-hander. So I think there's a world where he could get taken just because he's kind of the guy that maybe some teams target in that, where he's a lefty and he strikes out a ton of guys and they can kind of work with the walks a little bit. So he could be a guy that if he's still in the organization come February, March, he should be starting the year in the Worcester bullpen or rotation. He was starting in Portland, but there's not going to be enough spots. So if they do have him in a relief role in Worcester, I could see him getting up to Boston and being like that third, fourth lefty on the depth chart to start the season, and he could be impacting the big league club.
All right. So then, what about guy that everyone thinks is going to be an impact, but you don't think is going to have as big an impact? Maybe they'll still have an impact, but it won't be like the people are expecting to have this gigantic season.
Like in the minor leagues,
Yeah, you could say minor league, anyone on the major league team too. Just give me someone you think that people might be overhyping a little bit.
uh, I hate to say it, but I'm gonna say Christian Campbell, just because he truly hasn't proved it, and I have to see him in Worcester next year because as of right now, it's like if we're going off of 2025, I'm not completely sold that he's going to be the same guy that got that extension. But I really, really hope I'm wrong, and I hope that there's somebody in the chat that's gonna like tell me on Twitter I was very wrong because I'm hoping so. So
All right, so we are officially, I've got like 45 seconds here. Let me see if I can wrap this up quickly. Andrew Parker just got hired by Sox Prospects, been covering minor league baseball forever. If you want to follow him on Twitter, it's at Andrew Parker. Obviously, check out the guys over at Sox Prospects. He's now on their podcast too, so he'll be all over the Sox Prospects podcast as well. Andrew, in 10 seconds, you got anything else left to say?
No, appreciate this. I'm always a big fan of Red Sea Radio. I've been subscribed for a while, so.
Just doesn't follow me on Twitter. All right, everybody.
Oh.
What a wait for that to end. I get to call him out for not following me on Twitter, and he doesn't get to give me a rebuttal. Chat, what'd you think about that? What did we think about the first sort of live interview? What did we think about the first sort of live interview ever on Red Sea Radio? I kind of messed with it. I think that was a lot of fun. There we go. I don't know what just happened to the cameras. They just got kind of squirrely there. You guys enjoyed it? Yeah, I thought that was pretty good. It's a cool way to like end a live stream, right? So you sort of get the all the news and rumors and stuff, and then you can kind of have fun and talk about some of the other stuff going on in the system. Andrew's a great guy, by the way. He should absolutely be someone you follow if you were looking for Red Sox news, especially now that he's with the Sox Prospects. Christian, you got it? Awesome. Let's go. So you guys like that? Maybe I'll try and get more. Me and Robbie Hyde have been going back and forth. It's literally been me and Robbie Hyde for like the last month. It's been like, hey, man, you busy this week? And he'll be like, yeah, sorry. And then he'll be like, Friday, he'll be like, hey, man, you busy? And I'm like, yeah, unfortunately, I'm busy as well. So we'll get Robbie Hyde on this offseason for sure. But if you guys enjoy that, maybe I'll reach out and see, maybe we get a player on here to do that. We'll do some fun things. But regardless, I appreciate you guys being here tonight. I appreciate you guys hanging out with Andrew. Ton of fun. I love hearing about the prospects, especially last no once. Yeah. And he's got more knowledge than just about everybody I know, to be honest with you. Yeah, Christian, I'm glad you got it. There's someone, if you want a Roman Anthony signed baseball card and have not received it yet, or signed something and have not received it yet, please email me. I lost your email and I have the card sitting here. And I need to give it away. So email me if you're here. But anyways, thank you all very much for being here. We're talking about Tristan Casas tomorrow. Everybody's favorite topic. Going to be an interesting one, so make sure you guys are there. Make sure you guys are donating to Movember if you haven't already. It is an absolutely fantastic cause. It's an absolutely fantastic organization, and we are just $1,000 away from somebody winning opening day tickets. That's the biggest giveaway I think we've ever done in channel history in terms of like actual prizes. So make sure you guys are donating for that. As always, thank you all very much for being here. That was you. All right, Dubs. Email me again. Make sure it's the same thread as last time so I can get it to you. I don't know what happened, but it didn't get to you. So email me again on that same thread and I'll get it over to you. All right, guys. Thank you very much for being here, and I will see you in the red seat.